Hello, everyone. Today's topic is Has the conflict thesis harmed environmental science? For those who don't know, the conflict thesis is the belief that religion and science are locked in a perpetual conflict, with science always seeking to debunk religious beliefs and religion trying to shut it down or oppose it. From where we are, this is still a myth that's believed by many people in the general public. As such, it's probably not enough just to say that historians have overwhelmingly rejected the conflict thesis, but it's probably worth pointing out how inverted the reality really is. Far from being adversarial, Christian theology, in particular natural theology, was the philosophical foundation for developing modern science. Ideas like the intelligibility and rational structure of the world as a creation of God were vital to the development of science as they provided early scientists with a theological justification for assuming that nature could be systematically studied. In the words of Lin 2006, natural theology settled the philosophical foundation of modern science in the aspects as ontology, epistemology, and methodology. Actually, it is prior science of modern science. Francis Bacon is credited with formalizing the scientific method, Newton with Newtonian physics, Georges Lemaitre was the originator of the Big Bang theory, and Gregor Mendel was the father of genetics. These are the things that brought about modern science. In fact, from 1901 to 2000, while one-third of the world's population, Christians have received about 65% of Nobel Prizes, and that includes 72.5% in chemistry, 65.3% in physics, and 62% in medicine. In spite of the conflict thesis narratives, Christians have a very strong scientific tradition. Nevertheless, Christians often feel stigmatized in scientific and especially biology-related fields. And according to Barnes 2021, they're not necessarily wrong. Barnes 2021 looks at Christianity as a concealable stigmatized identity. And it goes on in an experimental audit study that showed, quote, biology faculty rate an evangelical Christian graduate student Christian graduate school applicant as less hireable, less competent, and less likable than an identical applicant who does not signal an evangelical identity. Further, biologists themselves report that they have negative attitudes towards evangelical and fundamentalist Christian religions. Undergraduate Christian students perceive that Christians are seen as less competent in science, and these students experience stereotype threat based on their Christian identities. Barnes goes further to say, the majority of Christian undergraduate biology students who are not fundamentalist or evangelical also think that discrimination against Christians is a problem in science. And almost half of Protestant biologists say that they have been discriminated against in the workplace because of their religion. But this sidelining of Christians has come at a cost. And that cost is felt in something like ecology in particular, and this is where I'd like to focus my attention. Writers like Dunn, 1994, have described Christian theology as tardy in addressing issues relating to ecology. And it does seem that there aren't a lot of vocal Christian voices in environmental science. In fact, ecology seems to me to be the place where Christian voices are the most absent, and that has also come at a huge cost. From issues with microplastics to mass extinctions, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't hear about another environmental problem. And being in this field, many like the former seem to get overlooked for more politically charged topics. Like at this point, though, it's easy to just shrug your shoulders and move on with your day. The problem's bigger than you, you're busy, someone else is going to worry about it. But if God has given us stewardship over creation, the question isn't whether we'll bother, but what kind of stewards are we going to be? Will we be something like Denethor? Lord Denethor in Lord of the Rings was a steward who shirked his responsibilities for his own egoistic goals and allowed the kingdom to fall into ruin. Or maybe we would be like Aragorn or Theoden. And Theoden in particular, even though he was merely a man, he chose to show up no matter how inadequate he felt to the task. In his 2009 book, The Lost World of Genesis 1, John Walton argues that Genesis 1 should be interpreted as a functional theological narrative, describing the cosmos being ordered as a temple for God to dwell in. This is cosmic temple theology, where creation is made to be sacred, and humans as the image of God placed in the center of that temple. While things have gone wrong in creation, we can work with God to restore creation and bring about his kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. Anyway, to sum it up, yes, I do think the conflict thesis has greatly harmed science, and especially environmental science. But I don't think it has to remain that way if we have the courage to challenge these demonstrably false assumptions. If you're still watching, hopefully there's something that you liked. Please consider your option to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of this content. As always, the references will be in the description.